Hello there, and welcome to the Daily Dose of Lore. I'm so glad you're here. Tonight, we're drifting into the world of ice and fire, where dragons once ruled the skies and shadows walk in forms that shouldn't exist. You've heard of the dragons, but what about the ice spiders, large as hounds? Or the basilisks, 50-foot serpents haunting unmapped jungles? These creatures exist in the world of Westeros and beyond. Some confirmed in blood and flame, others whispered only in legend. We're exploring every mythical creature that haunts, hunts, or soars through this realm. If this helps you unwind, a like and subscribe help others find their way here too. But for now, let's begin our journey into the creatures that shaped dynasties, ended kingdoms, and live on in memory and myth. Dragons remain the most magnificent and terrible creatures ever to grace the skies of Westeros. They are reptilian beasts with scales harder than steel, wings that span wider than the sails of great ships, and breath that burns hotter than any forge. A dragon's body generates heat so intense that its bones turn black as charcoal, and even centuries after death, a dragon's skull radiates warmth if you press your hand against its surface. These creatures possess intelligence far beyond common animals, understanding complex commands and forming deep bonds with their riders. Their eyes gleam with awareness, often matching the color of their flames, golden eyes for golden fire, green for green. The membrane of their wings is translucent in sunlight, revealing the intricate network of veins beneath, and when they roar, the sound carries for miles, shaking the very foundations of castles. In the dawn light, a dragon's scales shimmer like jewels, each one overlapping the next in perfect natural armor that only grows stronger with age. The growth of dragons knows no natural limit, constrained only by the space available to them and the abundance of food they can consume. A hatchling begins no larger than a cat, its scales soft as leather, but within weeks it doubles in size if fed properly. Balerion, the Black Dread, the largest dragon ever recorded, could fit a grown man on horseback between his jaws, and his skull in the throne room of King's Landing stood taller than a giant. The Targaryens discovered that dragons raised in the dragon pit of King's Landing grew smaller than their wild ancestors, their bodies constrained by stone walls and limited prey. By contrast, dragons allowed to roam free across Dragonstone or the Valyrian Peninsula would grow throughout their entire lives, some living 2 centuries or more. The oldest dragons developed scales so thick that even scorpion bolts might glance away, and their flames burned hot enough to melt stone into rivers of slag. A dragon's size also affects the heat of its fire. The larger the dragon, the more intense the flames, until the greatest among them could reduce a castle to ash in minutes. Balerion, the Black Dread, cast a shadow over entire towns when he flew overhead, earning his name from the darkness he brought. His scales were black as midnight, touched with hints of red that glimmered when firelight caught them, and his eyes were pools of molten gold. Aegon the Conqueror rode Balerion during his conquest of Westeros, and together they forged a kingdom through fire and blood. The dragon's teeth were longer than swords, his claws capable of plucking knights from battlements as an eagle takes a rabbit. When Balerion opened his jaws, the heat radiating from his throat was enough to set men's clothing smoldering before the flames even touched them. He lived through multiple riders and countless battles, his hide scarred by wounds that would have killed lesser dragons. In his later years, Balerion bore a twisted scar along his jaw, and one of his eyes was damaged, perhaps from some encounter in the ruins of Valyria during the only journey Arya Targaryen ever forced upon him. His last years were spent sleeping more than waking, a mountain of black scales and ancient power, until finally even the Black Dread's fire went cold. The 3 dragons of Daenerys Targaryen were the first to hatch in over a century, born in fire and blood on the Dothraki Sea. Drogon, named for her late husband Khal Drogo, has scales of black and scarlet, his eyes like pools of molten lava. He is the largest and most aggressive of the 3, the Alpha, with a temperament as fierce as the flames he breathes. Rhaegal bears green and bronze scales, named for Daenerys' brother Rhaegar, with green flames that cast an eerie light across battlefields. Viserion's scales shimmer cream and gold, his flames the color of pale roses touched with orange, named for her other brother Viserys. These 3 were hatched in ancient dragon eggs, placed in Khal Drogo's funeral pyre, where Daenerys herself walked into the flames unburned. The eggs had been turned to stone by time, their shells harder than any gem. Yet the heat of the pyre and some deeper magic woke the life sleeping within. When the smoke cleared and dawn broke over the Dothraki Sea, 3 dragons chirped and crawled across the ashes, their eyes bright with new life. They fed on cooked meat from the pyre and grew stronger with each passing day. Vhagar was the dragon of Visenya Targaryen, sister-wife to Aegon the Conqueror, and she lived long enough to become the largest dragon in Westeros after Balerian's death. Her scales were bronze and blue-green, darkening with age until she resembled the weathered copper of old bells. Vhagar's size in her final years was nearly as great as the Black Dread himself, her head massive as a carriage, her wingspan vast enough to eclipse the sun. She had a scar across her belly from some forgotten battle, and her movements in old age became slow and ponderous, though no less deadly for it. The dragon's breath was fierce enough to melt armor into the flesh of those who wore it, and her jaws could snap a horse in half. Vhagar fought in countless battles across her long life, including the conquest of Westeros and the wars that followed. In her final days during the Dance of the Dragons, she carried Aemond Targaryen into battle above the God's Eye, where she and her rider fell locked in combat with Caraxes and his rider, plunging into the lake in a tangle of wings and flame. Both dragons and both riders lost to the dark waters. Meraxes, ridden by Rhaenys Targaryen, was silver with golden eyes, her scales gleaming like polished moonlight. She was smaller than Balerion, but larger than Vhagar at the time of the conquest. A dragon in her prime with flames that burned white hot and fast. Rhaenys and Meraxes were inseparable, the dragon answering to her rider's voice with an almost eager intelligence. Together they conquered Dorne's desert strongholds, the dragon's fire turning sand to glass and stone to rubble. But Dorne proved treacherous in ways the other kingdoms had not, and at Hellholt, a lucky scorpion bolt fired from the castle walls pierced Meraxes' eye, driving deep into her brain. The dragon fell from the sky like a collapsing mountain, crashing through the castle's walls and towers, bringing stone and fire down in equal measure. Rhaenys was lost beneath the rubble, her body never recovered, and Meraxes' corpse was said to have been entombed within the ruins. The manner of her death taught the Targaryens a terrible lesson, that even dragons, for all their power, can fall to mortal weapons if fortune favors the marksman. Caraxes, the bloodworm, was a dragon of unusual proportions, long and serpentine, lean where others were massive, with scales the color of spilled blood. His flames burned red as his scales, and he had a fierce temperament that matched his appearance. demon Targaryen rode krakens, and together they became legendary for their ferocity in battle. The dragon's body was built for speed and agility rather than sheer size, able to twist and coil in the air like a viper striking. His roar had a peculiar song-like quality, starting high and dropping to a bone-deep rumble that unsettled horses and sent men's hearts racing with primal fear. During the Dance of the Dragons, Caraxes fought above the God's Eye against Vogger and Aemond One-Eye, the two dragons locking together in midair, claws rending scales, teeth finding purchase in necks and wings. Both dragons fell into the lake, mortally wounded, yet Caraxes managed to drag himself onto the shore before death took him, trailing his guts behind him, while Vhagar sank into the depths with her rider still chained to her back. Syrax was the golden dragon of Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, her scales gleaming like burnished coins in sunlight. She was a beautiful dragon, well-fed and pampered within King's Landing, her temperament gentler than many of her kin. Syrax had known no battles in her early years, raised in peace as a companion to a princess who would become queen. Her flames were yellow gold, matching her scales, and when she roared, the sound carried a melodious quality that some found almost pleasant compared to the harsh screams of war dragons. But gentleness in a dragon is relative. Her jaws could still crush stone, her fire could still melt steel. During the Dance of the Dragons, when riots tore through King's Landing, a mob broke into the dragon pit. Syrax, kept there during Rhaenyra's reign, had grown unused to combat and threat. The mob attacked with spears and torches, and though Syrax killed many with flame and claw, the sheer number of attackers brought her down. The golden dragon died in the pit, torn apart by the very small folk she had once watched from above, her death marking a dark turn in the war. The dragon eggs of House Targaryen were objects of immense value and deep mystery, their shells harder than any stone and marked with scales that seemed carved by some impossibly skilled artisan. When alive, a dragon egg radiates warmth, a sign of the life sleeping within, but eggs that have died grow cold and heavy, turning to true stone over centuries. The Targaryens brought 5 eggs from Valyria before the Doom, though more were laid in the centuries that followed. These eggs came in many colors, black as midnight, deep green as forest shadows, pale cream, blood red, and blue like the evening sky. Some were covered in swirling patterns, others in geometric scales. The method of hatching dragons was closely guarded knowledge, and over time, even that knowledge faded. Fire alone is not enough. Many eggs were placed in flames over the centuries with no result but ashes. Blood magic seems to play a role, sacrifice of some deep and terrible kind. When Daenerys Targaryen hatched her 3 dragons, she combined fire, death, and her own mysterious immunity to flame, walking into the pyre as a sacrifice that somehow reversed into rebirth. Dragons possess intelligence that sets them apart from even the cleverest hunting hounds or ravens of the Citadel. They understand their rider's commands, not just simple words, but complex intentions communicated through voice and gesture. A dragon knows its name and comes when called, provided the bond is strong. They demonstrate problem-solving abilities, like Drogon returning to Daenerys across vast distances, or dragons learning to avoid scorpion emplacements after seeing their kind fall to the bolts. Some Meisters theorize that dragons understand human speech better than they can ever express. Those golden or red eyes holding thoughts we cannot fathom. A bonded dragon can sense its rider's emotions, responding to fear or anger without a word being spoken. they remember places and return to them. Drogon retreated to the ruins around the Dothraki Sea when wounded, seeking familiar territory. They mourn their dead, or at least display behaviors that resemble mourning, circling the bodies of fallen dragons and keening in tones that chill the blood. Whether this constitutes true emotion or some more alien cognition, none can say with certainty. The color of a dragon's flames often corresponds to the color of its scales or eyes, though not always in obvious ways. Black dragons like Balerion breathe flames tinged with red and orange, while Rhaegal's green scales produce green fire that burns with an eerie chemical intensity. Viserion's cream and gold scales give him flames like pale roses mixed with orange, beautiful in their way, yet no less deadly. The heat of dragon fire varies. Some dragons breathe flames hot enough to melt stone, while younger dragons produce fire that burns wood and cloth but leaves stone scorched rather than melted. The hottest dragon fire, produced by the eldest and largest dragons, can reduce a fully armored knight to ash and slag in seconds, the metal of his armor melting into his bones before he has time to scream. Even the air around dragonfire shimmers with heat, and men standing too close have been known to collapse from the mere proximity to the flames. The smell of dragonfire is distinctive: sulfur and burning flesh, charcoal and something else, something ancient that has no name in common tongue. Dragonstone, the ancient Targaryen seat, was built by Valyrian sorcerers using dragonfire to shape stone, melting it and reforming it into walls and towers carved with dragon shapes. The castle's very walls depict dragons in relief, their forms emerging from black stone as if frozen mid-flight. Dragons were kept in the volcanic caverns beneath Dragonstone, the natural heat of the volcano providing warmth that the creatures craved. The island's Dragonmont, a smoking volcano that has never fully erupted, creates an environment perfect for dragons, the sulfurous air and hot stone reminding them of distant Valyria. Dragon eggs were often placed in the cradles of Targaryen infants, an old custom meant to forge early bonds between rider and mount. Sometimes the egg would hatch, the dragon and child growing together. Other times, the eggs remained stone, their potential never realized. The sound of dragons echoing through Dragonstone's halls was once as common as the crash of waves against its cliffs. But after the dance of the dragons, silence fell over those ancient corridors, broken only by wind and the cries of seabirds. The Field of Fire stands as the most terrible demonstration of dragon power in the history of Westeros. During Aegon's conquest, the combined armies of the Reach and the Rock, over 50,000 men strong, faced Aegon and his sisters with their 3 dragons. The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted less than an hour. Balerion, Vhagar, and Meraxes descended on the army in formation, and their flames turned the field into an inferno. Men in armor cooked inside their steel shells. Horses stampeded in blind panic. Banners burst into flame before they could fall. 4,000 men died in the fire, many more from injuries afterward. The heat was so intense that sand melted into glass in patches across the battlefield, creating dark green formations that locals call dragon's glass to this day. Survivors spoke of the roar of flames drowning out the screams of dying men, of seeing friends vanish in gouts of fire, of the smell of burning flesh thick enough to taste. The Reach and the Rock bent the knee immediately after, having learned in one terrible afternoon that conventional armies cannot stand against dragons. The Dragon Pit of King's Landing was built to house the Targaryen dragons within the capital, a massive domed structure that could be seen from miles away. Its bronze doors were large enough for the greatest dragons to enter, and within, caverns had been carved to serve as individual lairs. But the Dragon Pit proved to be both a practical solution and a terrible mistake. Dragons confined within its walls, even in spacious caverns, grew smaller than their wild ancestors, their growth stunted by the limitation of space and the regular feeding schedule that removed the need to hunt. The dragons grew restless, their roars echoing through King's Landing at night, disturbing the sleep of the small folk. During the Dance of the Dragons, when the Civil War turned King's Landing against itself, a mob of rioters stormed the Dragon Pit. Armed with spears, axes, and their own fury, they faced the dragons kept within: Shrykos, Morgul, Tyraxes, and Dreamfire. The confined dragons, used to handlers and predictable routines, were overwhelmed by the sheer number of attackers. The Dragon Pit became a slaughterhouse, dragon blood mixing with human blood, until finally the dome collapsed, flames erupting through the shattered roof in a final conflagration that could be seen across the city. In the wake of the Dance of the Dragons, the last Targaryen dragons dwindled. The few dragons that survived the Civil War were small, sickly creatures, many deformed or unable to thrive. The last dragon to be born was a twisted thing, no larger than a cat, with a crooked jaw and withered wings. It lived only a short time before dying, and with its death, dragons vanished from the world. For over a century and a half, dragon eggs turned to stone, and the great beasts existed only in songs, histories, and the massive skulls that decorated the throne room. The Targaryens kept the dragon eggs, hoping that one day they might hatch again, trying every method from fire to blood sacrifice, but nothing succeeded. The knowledge of how to hatch dragons had been lost, if it ever truly existed as reproducible knowledge, rather than some confluence of magic and circumstance. The world grew colder without dragons. Their loss felt not just by the Targaryens, but by the realm itself, as if some essential fire had gone out of the world. Dragons communicate through roars, growls, and other vocalizations that carry complex meanings. A dragon's roar of challenge sounds different from its roar of greeting, and riders learn to interpret these sounds as a sailor learns to read the wind. Some dragons, like Caraxes, had distinctive voices that could be recognized from miles away. Others rumbled deep in their chests, a sound felt as much as heard, vibrating through stone and earth. When content, dragons produce a sound like the purring of a massive cat, though still loud enough to wake nearby sleepers. In distress or pain, their cries are sharp and piercing, nothing like their usual commanding roars. Mother dragons are said to sing to their eggs, a low humming that resonates through the shell. Dragons also communicate through body language, the angle of wings, the curve of the neck, the flicker of flame from nostrils. A rider who cannot read these signals may find themselves thrown, or worse, ignored at a critical moment. The bond between a dragon and its rider is a mysterious thing, not fully understood even by the Targaryens who relied upon it. Some bloodlines seem better suited to bonding with dragons, the Valyrian blood of old families like Targaryen, Valerian, and Celtigar. But even among these families, not everyone can claim a dragon, and attempting to claim a dragon without a bond often ends in fire and death. The bond begins when a dragon accepts a rider, a moment of recognition that can happen when the dragon is still young, or sometimes even in adulthood. Once bonded, the rider can command the dragon, guide its flight, and even sense its moods. The bond does not end easily. Dragons who lose riders often refuse new ones, pining in a way that seems almost human. Some dragons, like Sunfire with Aegon Sen, showed loyalty that went beyond simple training, remaining with their wounded riders rather than seeking easier prey elsewhere. The bond is not servitude. Dragons have been known to refuse commands they deem foolish, and no amount of shouting will make a dragon fly into a situation it perceives as fatal. Dragons require vast amounts of food, consuming entire cattle or multiple sheep in a single meal when young, and even larger prey as they mature. Balerion could swallow a horse whole, and was said to have occasionally fed on whales when hunting at sea. Free-roaming dragons hunt for themselves, taking livestock from farms or wild animals from forests, sometimes creating problems with local populations when their hunger leads to decimated herds. The Targaryens kept herds specifically for feeding the dragons in the dragon pit, and the expense was considerable. A dragon's digestive system is extraordinarily efficient, reducing bone to ash and hide to nothing, leaving behind only occasional fragments too hard to dissolve. They prefer cooked meat, their own fire serving to prepare their meals, though they will eat raw flesh if hungry enough. After feeding, dragons tend to sleep for long periods, sometimes days, their bodies processing the enormous meal. This cycle of feast and rest means that while a dragon can be a devastating force in battle, maintaining a stable of dragons for war requires substantial resources. The death of a dragon is a momentous event, their passing marked by the end of flames that burned for decades or centuries. When a dragon dies naturally of old age, the fire within them slowly fades, their body growing cooler over weeks or months until finally the inner heat that sustained them goes out entirely. Dragons killed in battle die more suddenly, their flames extinguished in moments, though the heat lingers in their corpse for days afterward. The body of a dead dragon is valuable. Its bones are harder than wood and light enough to be worked into structures. Its scales can be fashioned into armor, though few pieces are large enough to be practical. And dragon bone is prized for making certain musical instruments that are said to have the finest sound. The skulls of dead dragons were kept in the throne room of the Red Keep, a reminder of Targaryen power even after the beasts themselves had perished. These skulls grew larger with each generation, from the monstrous Balerion at the front to the small, sad skull of the last dragon at the end of the hall, a history of decline written in bone and fading power. Dragons, for all their power, are not invulnerable. Their scales protect them from most weapons, arrows glancing off the thick hide like rain off stone. But certain spots prove weaker. The eyes, most obviously, and where the scales meet at joints, or the softer scales of the underbelly. A well-placed scorpion bolt can pierce a dragon's hide, as Meraxes learned at Hellhold, and as Rhaegal discovered during the defense of King's Landing. Dragons can be wounded in combat with other dragons, their teeth and claws sharp enough to rend the scales that turn aside human weapons. Disease can afflict dragons as well, though they seem resistant to most ailments that trouble lesser creatures. The greatest danger to dragons, historically, has been other dragons. The dance of the dragons proved that when dragon fought dragon, both usually died, their battles too violent and destructive for either to truly win. A wounded dragon is still deadly, Caraxes proving this by dragging himself to shore even with mortal injuries, but without their full strength, they become vulnerable to threats they would normally ignore. Beyond the wall, in the lands of eternal winter, dwell the White Walkers, beings of ice and ancient malice whose very presence brings killing cold. They stand taller than men, their skin pale as milk, almost translucent in moonlight, with a texture that resembles cracked ice or frosted glass. Their eyes burn with a light like blue stars, cold and pitiless, holding no warmth or mercy. When they move, the air around them grows frigid, frost forming on grass and stone, breath turning to white clouds even in summer. White Walkers wear armor that seems crafted from ice itself, though whether it grows from their bodies or is fashioned by their hands, none can say. They carry blades of ice that gleam like crystal, so cold that they can shatter steel on contact, the metal freezing and shattering like glass. Their footsteps leave frost in their wake, and water freezes when they pass over streams. In the deepest cold of winter nights, when the wind howls through bare trees, the White Walkers emerge from the darkness like nightmares made flesh, silent save for the crack of ice and the whisper of wind through their ancient forms. The White Walkers possess the terrible ability to raise the dead, binding corpses to their will in a mockery of life. Those who fall in lands of ice and cold can rise again as whites, their eyes turning the same brilliant blue as their masters, their bodies animated by cold magic that needs no breath or beating heart. A white retains the wounds that ended its first life. A man who lost his head will stumble blindly. One pierced through the heart shows the whole yet walks regardless. They feel no pain, no fear, no hesitation, making them terrible opponents who cannot be reasoned with or frightened away. Fire is their great weakness, the flames consuming their dead flesh and breaking whatever magic binds them. Whites can be any creature that once lived: men, bears, horses, even children, all rising at the command of the White Walkers to serve in an army of the dead. Their movements are jerky and unnatural, like puppets pulled by invisible strings. Yet they can run and climb and wield weapons with enough coordination to be deadly. The Night's Watch has faced them in small numbers, learning through terrible cost that only fire or dragonglass can truly stop them. Old Nan, the ancient storyteller of Winterfell, speaks of ice spiders large as hounds that the White Walkers once rode through the frozen forests of the far north. These creatures appear in her tales alongside the White Walkers themselves, eight-legged horrors that skittered across snow and ice, their crystalline bodies refracting moonlight into rainbow shards. According to legend, their legs were sharp enough to pierce armor, their movements silent despite their size, and their venom could freeze a man's blood in his veins. No Meister has ever confirmed the existence of ice spiders, and no living man claims to have seen one. Yet Old Nan swears they existed in the long night, millennia ago, when the White Walkers first came. Whether they are real creatures twisted by ancient magic, hallucinations of men dying in snow and cold, or pure legend born from the terror of that dark time, none can say with certainty. The far north holds many mysteries that Westeros has forgotten, and if ice spiders ever crawled beneath the light of the aurora, their bones have long since melted with their maker's defeat. The army of the dead that follows the White Walkers is not merely whites risen randomly, but an organized force that grows with each battle, each village overrun. When the White Walkers sweep through wildling camps or isolated settlements, those who fall rise again to march with the dead, swelling the army's ranks in an ever-growing tide. This force moves with purpose, directed by the White Walkers who command it, capable of complex actions like forming crude battle lines or surrounding prey. The army makes no sound beyond the shuffle of dead feet, and the occasional snap of frozen joints. No war cries, no drums, just the terrible silence of the dead advancing. They march through storms that would stop living men, unbothered by cold or exhaustion or hunger. The army has been seen carrying crude weapons, rusted swords, broken spears, clubs of bone and wood, though their greatest weapon is their numbers and their refusal to stop. For every wight that falls to fire or dragonglass, 10 more press forward, tireless and unfeeling. Those who witness the army of the dead speak of the horror in seeing familiar faces among the corpses, friends and kin turned to enemies, their eyes burning with cold blue light. White Walkers can reanimate not just men, but any dead creature, and this includes the massive bears that roam beyond the wall. A white bear retains all its size and strength, its claws still sharp, its jaws still powerful enough to crush bone, but now driven by the relentless purpose of the dead. The bear's fur becomes matted with ice, its eyes glowing blue in the darkness, its breath no longer misting in cold air because it no longer breathes. These creatures are particularly dangerous because they move with the speed and ferocity of living bears, but cannot be stopped by wounds that would fell a natural animal. A white bear attacked the Night's Watch during their ranging beyond the wall, tearing through men with terrible efficiency until finally brought down by concentrated fire. The sight of such a massive predator risen from death serves as a reminder that the White Walker's power extends to all dead flesh, not merely human corpses. The origin of the White Walkers remains shrouded in mystery and legend. In the books, their creation is unknown, lost to the mists of time that obscure the Age of Heroes and the Long Night. They appeared 8,000 years ago, bringing winter and darkness, and were only defeated after a generation-long war that nearly destroyed humanity. In the show, however, we learn a different story, that the children of the forest created the first White Walker during their war with the first men, driving a dragon-glass dagger into a man's heart in a desperate act to defend themselves. This ritual, performed at a weirwood tree, transformed the man into something new and terrible, a weapon that would eventually turn against its creators. The books have yet to reveal whether this is true, leaving the question open. What remains consistent across both versions is that the White Walkers are ancient beyond reckoning, predating all kingdoms and recorded history, creatures from a time when magic flowed more freely through the world. White Walker horses are as eerie as their riders, dead steeds with eyes of blue flame and frost, coating their manes. These horses move with unnatural grace, their hooves leaving trails of ice, their breath cold enough to freeze moisture in the air into tiny crystals that fall like snow. They bear their riders silently, never tiring, never needing rest or food. Pale shadows of the magnificent war horses that knights of the South prize. When White Walkers ride to battle, the sight of those pale riders on paler horses emerging from winter storms strikes terror into the bravest hearts. The horses seem as much a part of the winter as the White Walkers themselves, inseparable from the cold and death that follows in their wake. In ancient legend, there was a figure known as the Night's King, a Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, who fell in love with a woman with skin as white as the moon and eyes like blue stars. He brought her back to the Night Fort, where he declared himself king and ruled for 13 years, performing dark sacrifices before finally being defeated by an alliance of the Stark King in the north and the Wildling King beyond the wall. This Night's King of legend may have been a man who fell under the White Walker's spell, Or perhaps the story has been corrupted over thousands of years of retelling. The Night King of the show is a different entity entirely. The first White Walker created by the Children of the Forest, leader of all his kind. These are separate figures, one a legendary historical character and the other a creature of ice and magic, though their names echo each other across centuries and adaptations. The White Walkers seem to have a language, though it is unlike any human tongue. Witnesses describe it as the sound of cracking ice, the creak of glaciers shifting, sharp clicks and crystalline chimes that carry meaning to those who speak it. Whether this is true speech or merely sounds they make that happen to communicate intent, none can say. The White Walkers speak rarely, if at all, preferring silence to words, their commands to their whites requiring no voice. When they do make sounds, the effect is unsettling, something fundamentally wrong about the noises, as if winter itself had learned to form words. Their silence in most encounters adds to their horror. They do not threaten, do not demand, do not negotiate. They simply come, bringing cold and death, their purposes unknowable to the living. The cold that White Walkers bring is supernatural, beyond normal winter's chill. It is a killing cold, one that freezes flesh in moments, turns blood to ice in veins, stops hearts with its touch. This cold spreads before them like a herald, warnings of their approach written in frost patterns on trees and the sudden death of small animals caught in its path. Men caught in this cold describe a numbness that spreads from extremities inward, a drowsiness that makes them want to lie down and sleep even as they know that sleep means death. The cold seems to drain life itself, not merely heat but the vital force that animates living things. Plants wither and blacken at their passing, their cellular structures destroyed by cold that should not exist in nature. This is not the clean cold of winter wind, but something older and hungrier, a cold that existed before fire, before warmth, before life itself crawled from the sea. The Children of the Forest are the first people of Westeros, predating mankind by thousands of years. Small beings with skin like bark in shades of nut brown and dappled green, making them blend seamlessly with the forests they call home. They stand no taller than children of men, perhaps waist-high to an adult, with delicate builds and large eyes that shine with colors not found in human eyes. Gold like sunlight through leaves, red like autumn berries, green like moss on stone. Their faces are small and fine-boned, with pointed ears and features that seem carved from wood, beautiful in an inhuman way. The children wear no metal, fashion no stone buildings, living instead in harmony with the forest, dwelling in caves decorated with paintings, in hollows of great trees, or in simple shelters of woven branches. They sing songs to the trees and the earth, old songs in a language that predates the common tongue, words that carry power when spoken by their voices. The children named themselves something else in their own language, but men call them Children of the Forest, and so they remain in history and memory. The Children of the Forest possessed magics that men have lost or never knew. They could make crude obsidian blades sing in their hands, cut through ice and armor with weapons that should have been too brittle. They had green seers among them, those with the power to see through the eyes of animals and trees, to look into the past and sometimes the future, to walk in the dreams of beasts and men. The children carved faces into weirwood trees, creating the heart trees that stand in God's woods across the north, and through these faces the green seers could see and know. They spoke to animals in ways that went beyond words, forming bonds with ravens and wolves, deer and elk. Their knowledge of herbs and growing things surpassed even the wisest meisters, able to draw healing from plants that appeared to have none. The children did not build armies or forge weapons of war, but when the first men came with bronze axes and fire, the children defended their forest with magics that shattered the land itself, breaking the arm of Dorne and turning it to a chain of islands in an attempt to halt the invasion. The war between the children of the forest and the first men raged for generations, a conflict between bronze and obsidian, between those who cut forests to plant fields and those who lived within the green. The first men were larger, stronger, and more numerous, but the children had magic and the forest itself as an ally. Trees would move to block paths, roots would rise to trip warriors, storms would spring up from clear skies to blind invaders. Yet, the first men's numbers proved overwhelming, and slowly, terribly, the children were driven back, their forests burned, their sacred groves cut down. The war ended not in victory for either side, but in understanding when the first men learned to respect the weirwoods, and the children accepted that men had come to stay. They made a pact on the Isle of Faces, agreeing that men would keep the open lands, and the children would keep the forests. The children carved the agreement into the trees, and for thousands of years the pact held. But even peace could not stop the slow decline of the children, who seemed to fade as men grew more numerous, retreating deeper into their forests, their numbers dwindling with each generation. Weirwood trees are white as bone, their bark smooth and pale, their leaves blood red like rubies caught in branches. The wood itself is white through and through, and when cut, it weeps red sap that looks disturbingly like blood. These trees can live for thousands of years, growing stronger and stranger with age, their roots delving deep into earth and sometimes connecting with the roots of other weirwoods, creating a network that spans the continent. The children of the forest carved faces into many weirwood trees, creating the heart trees that stand at the center of Godswoods. These faces have eyes filled with dried red sap, and those eyes seem to watch, to see, to remember. Green seers can see through these carved faces, using the trees as windows into the world. The weirwoods hold memories in their rings, recording everything they witness over their long lives. Some say the trees themselves are aware, possessing a slow consciousness that thinks in seasons rather than heartbeats, in centuries rather than years. The North kept their weirwoods sacred even after the Andals brought their new gods, the Starks maintaining Godswoods in Winterfell, with a heart tree as old as the castle itself. Green seers are rare even among the children of the forest, perhaps 1 in 1,000 births, marked by certain signs from childhood. They have the ability to enter the minds of animals, to see through their eyes, and even guide their actions, a gift called skin-changing or warging when it manifests in men. But green seers can do more. They can touch the weirwood trees and see through their carved eyes, witnessing events past and present anywhere a heart tree grows. The greatest green seers can see into the past itself, watching history unfold as if they were present, though they cannot change what has already happened. Some claim that the most powerful can whisper across time, their voices carrying backward to influence events, though this borders on legend. Becoming a full green seer requires transformation, a ritual that binds the individual to a weirwood tree, their body growing into the roots and bark until they become part of the tree itself, achieving a kind of immortality at the cost of their physical form. the three-eyed raven, known in life as Brynden Rivers or Lord Bloodraven, became such a being, dwelling in a cave far beyond the wall. His body merged with weirwood roots, his consciousness able to range across time and space through the network of heart trees. The giants who once roamed the lands beyond the wall are not truly giants in the sense of legends, but they are massive, standing 12 to 14 feet tall, with enormous strength that allows them to uproot trees or hurl boulders that would require 10 men to lift. Their bodies are thick with muscle and covered in coarse hair, their faces broad and heavy-featured, with large teeth and beetling brows. Giants speak the old tongue, the same language the first men spoke before the Andals came, and though their speech is simple, they possess intelligence and culture, living in small family groups with their own customs and traditions. They dress in skins and furs, fashion crude tools and weapons from stone and wood, and live in a harmony with nature that civilization has lost. Giants ride mammoths, great hairy elephants with massive, curved tusks, forming partnerships with the beasts that serve as both mount and companion. By the time of the main story, giants have become incredibly rare, with perhaps fewer than 100 left alive beyond the wall, the last remnants of a race that once was numerous. They avoid men when possible, preferring the deep wilderness, but when forced to fight, their strength makes them formidable, able to break through shield walls or tear apart wooden structures with their bare hands. Mammoths are massive creatures covered in thick brown fur, standing taller at the shoulder than 2 men, with curved tusks longer than lances that sweep forward in graceful arcs. These are the mammoths of the far north, adapted to frozen lands, their fur providing insulation against cold that would kill horses. They move with surprising grace for their size, their footfalls shaking the ground, their trumpeting calls carrying for miles across tundra and ice. Giants ride mammoths into battle, directing them with voice and touch. The partnership between giant and mammoth going back countless generations. A mammoth in full charge is nearly unstoppable, able to smash through wooden gates or overturn wagons, its tusks goring anything in its path. Yet, despite their size and power, mammoths are herbivores, grazing on tough grasses and shrubs, using their trunks to strip bark from trees or dig roots from frozen ground. They travel in small herds led by old females who remember the paths to seasonal grazing grounds and water sources. The mammoths, like the giants who ride them, have become rare, dwindling in numbers as the world grows warmer and the lands they knew become inhospitable. Direwolves once roamed throughout Westeros, but have not been seen south of the Wall in hundreds of years, making them creatures of legend to most of the 7 kingdoms. They are massive compared to common wolves, standing as tall as ponies, at the shoulder with jaws powerful enough to crush bone, fur thick as a bear's, and eyes that gleam with unusual intelligence. A full-grown direwolf can run down a deer effortlessly, bring down prey as large as elk or auroch, and present a serious threat even to armed men. Their howls carry for miles, deep and resonant, raising primal fears in horses and setting dogs to whimpering. Direwolves form strong pack bonds, working together with coordination that goes beyond instinct into something approaching strategy. They seem to understand human speech better than common wolves, responding to complex commands and showing loyalty that borders on supernatural. The Stark children found 6 direwolf pups at the beginning of their story, 1 for each legitimate child, plus the albino ghost for Jon Snow, the first direwolves seen in the South in generations. These 6 would grow to be as much companions as protectors. The bond between the Stark children and their wolves running deeper than simple pet and master. Ghost, Jon Snow's direwolf, is an albino with fur white as fresh snow and eyes red as garnets, coloring so rare it marks him as special even among the already rare direwolves. He is the largest of the 6 wolves, yet the quietest, earning his name from his silent movements and tendency to appear without warning. While his siblings howl and growl, Ghost makes no sound, stalking like a shadow despite his bright coloring. His silence is unnatural for a wolf, suggesting something more than simple muteness. Ghost's eyes glow in darkness, red points in shadow that have caused men to flee in terror, mistaking him for some demon. The bond between Ghost and Jon seems particularly strong, with some who study such things theorizing that Jon possesses latent warging ability, his consciousness touching Ghost's even without training. Ghost has saved Jon's life multiple times, his senses alerting to dangers Jon could not perceive, his fangs defending his master against threats both living and dead. The wolf's loyalty is absolute, following Jon beyond the wall, standing by him through every trial, a constant companion when all others might fall away. Summer, bonded to Bran Stark, has fur of gray-brown that darkens to almost black in shadow, marking him as a hunter of twilight hours. This direwolf proved vital after Bran's fall from the tower, staying close to the boy during his coma and defending him from an assassin's blade when the cat's paw came to finish what the fall had begun. As Bran's ability to skin change developed, Summer became his primary companion in this magic, Bran's consciousness merging with the wolf's to run through forests, to hunt, to experience the world in ways his broken body could not. Through Summer's eyes, Bran learned to be a warg, and later, with the guidance of the three-eyed raven, to extend his consciousness into other creatures, and even into the past through weirwood visions. Summer's intelligence seems enhanced by the connection, the wolf responding to unspoken thoughts, protecting Bran with an awareness that goes beyond animal instinct. The bond between boy and wolf became so deep that sometimes Bran had difficulty remembering where he ended and Summer began, the wolf's thoughts blending with his own in ways both beautiful and dangerous. Grey Wind, Robb Stark's direwolf, grew to be a fierce warrior alongside his master, fighting in battles throughout the War of the Five Kings. The wolf's gray fur was marked with white along his chest and muzzle, and his temperament matched Robb's own courage and ferocity. Grey Wind seemed to share his master's tactical mind, understanding battle formations and flanking maneuvers, fighting alongside Stark men as if he were a trained war dog rather than a wild beast. The wolf distrusted certain people with an instinct that proved more reliable than human judgment, growling at Theon Greyjoy before his betrayal and showing hostility toward the Freys long before the Red Wedding. On that terrible night, Grey Wind was caged away from Robb, separated by treachery, and when the slaughter began, the wolf fought to break free. Crossbow bolts ended Grey Wind's life even as swords took Robb's, and in the aftermath, in a final cruelty, the Freys sewed Grey Wind's head onto Robb's body, a mockery of the Stark direwolf sigil that would haunt the North's memory. Shaggy Dog, Rickon Stark's direwolf, is the wildest of the pack, with black fur and green eyes that gleam with barely contained ferocity. Even as a pup, Shaggy Dog showed a temperament more aggressive than his siblings, quick to anger and slow to calm. As Rickon grew and the world around him became more chaotic, Shaggy Dog seemed to reflect the young boy's rage and fear, becoming increasingly difficult to control. The wolf's name, chosen by Rickon in childhood innocence, proves darkly prophetic as the youngest Stark's story becomes increasingly wild and untamed. Shaggy Dog follows Rickon into exile, protecting him fiercely. The bond between the youngest Stark and his wolf as strong as any of his siblings, but more primal, less refined. The black direwolf embodies wildness itself, a reminder that beneath the civilized veneer of the great houses lies something older, something that runs on instinct and blood, something that cannot be entirely tamed or predicted. Lady, Sansa Stark's direwolf, had fur of silver gray that caught the light like silk, the most gentle and refined of the pack, matching Sansa's own ladylike nature. She was smaller than her siblings, more delicate, with eyes that held a soft amber warmth rather than the fierce gold of hunting wolves. Lady's temperament was calm and trusting, comfortable around people in a way that wild wolves never are, content to be petted and to sleep at Sansa's feet. This gentleness proved tragic when Arya's direwolf Nymeria bit Joffrey in defense of her mistress, and the prince demanded a wolf's death in retribution. Nymeria had fled, so Cersei commanded that Lady be killed in her place, a cruel substitution that made no sense beyond spite and politics. Ned Stark performed the execution himself, unable to leave it to others, and Lady died confused and trusting, not understanding why the man who smelled of her mistress's pack would hurt her. Her death severed Sansa's connection to the North in a symbolic way, leaving the girl alone among wolves of a different sort in King's Landing, without the protection that her siblings' direwolves would provide in the dark times ahead. Nymeria, Arya Stark's direwolf, vanished into the Riverlands after biting Prince Joffrey, driven away by Arya herself, who knew the wolf would be killed for defending her. Named after the warrior queen who led the Rhoynar to Dorne, Nymeria proved as fierce and independent as her namesake. The she-wolf survived in the wild, growing enormous and strong, and unlike her siblings who remained with their masters, Nymeria thrived alone. Reports began filtering in of a massive she-wolf leading a pack of hundreds of common wolves through the Riverlands, pulling down lions and bears, attacking patrols of soldiers regardless of whose banner they flew. This pack became a force unto itself, a wild army that answered to no human command. Arya dreamed of Nymeria sometimes, her latent warging ability allowing glimpses through the wolf's eyes even across great distances, seeing through Nymeria as she hunted and ran free. The bond remained despite separation, and some who study such things believe that Arya and Nymeria's connection, though stretched thin by distance and time, never truly broke, waiting for the day when girl and wolf might run together again. The ability to enter the minds of animals and control them is called skin-changing, or warging when specifically referring to wolves, a gift that appears among certain bloodlines of the first men. Those with this gift can slip their consciousness into an animal's mind, seeing through its eyes, feeling through its senses, even directing its actions if the bond is strong enough. The experience is described as both exhilarating and disturbing. The human consciousness suddenly flooded with animal instincts, smells, and sounds perceived in ways human senses cannot match. A skin changer must be careful not to lose themselves in the animal, for the longer one stays in a beast's mind, the harder it becomes to remember being human. The gift appears most commonly in the north, among the wildlings beyond the wall, and occasionally in houses like Stark that carry strong First Men blood. It is said that 1 in 1,000 men are born with the potential for skin changing, though many never discover their gift, mistaking prophetic dreams or unusual animal behavior for coincidence, rather than recognizing their own power reaching out. Varamir Sixskins was a wildling skin changer of great power who controlled 6 animals simultaneously: 3 wolves, a shadowcat, a snow bear, and an eagle. His true name was Lump, born a weak and sickly child, but through skin changing he became mighty, able to hunt and fight through his beasts while his human body remained safely hidden. Varamir's consciousness could split between multiple animals, a rare and difficult talent that few skin changers ever master. He learned the art from a mentor named Hagen, who taught him the rules and taboos of skin changing. Never eat human flesh while in a beast, never mate while wearing an animal's skin, never enter the mind of another human, for that is the greatest abomination. Varamir broke some of these rules, tasting forbidden things, and attempting once to take over another man's body, an act that ended in horror. When Varamir's human body finally died in the frozen wastes, his consciousness tried to jump into a woman nearby, attempting to steal her body as a second life, but she fought him and he was expelled. In desperation, his consciousness fled into his wolf, one eye, living a second life as men who die while bonded to animals sometimes can. Though how long such a consciousness can survive in a beast's mind, none know for certain. The rules of skin changing are few but important, passed down from mentor to student among the wildlings who practice this art openly. A skin changer should never eat the flesh of humans while wearing an animal's skin, for this blurs the line between man and beast in dangerous ways, awakening hungers that should remain dormant. One should never mate while in an animal's body, for the union of human mind and animal instinct in such acts can damage the skin changer's humanity, leaving them more beast than man when they return to their own skin. The greatest taboo is entering the mind of another human being. This is considered an abomination, a violation so profound that even wildlings who accept skin changing as natural would kill someone who practices it. Forcing your mind into another person's body is akin to murder, stealing their life for your own use, and those who attempt it often find the human mind stronger and stranger than any animal's, resisting in ways that can destroy both parties. These rules exist not from morality alone, but from hard-learned experience, the accumulated wisdom of skin changers who pushed boundaries and paid terrible prices. When a skin changer dies while bonded to an animal, their consciousness can live on in the beast, a phenomenon known as a second life. The human's mind merges with the animal's, losing most of its human memories over time but retaining fragments of identity, of knowing they were once something more. This second life is not true immortality. Eventually, the human consciousness fades, consumed by the animal's instincts and needs, until nothing remains but a beast with occasionally strange behaviors. The length of this second life varies, some skin changers maintaining awareness for years, while others dissolve into their animals within days or weeks. Hagen, Varamir's mentor, lived his second life in his shadowcat for years, the beast occasionally showing signs of human intelligence before finally becoming just another predator in the mountains. This possibility of second life gives skin changers a strange relationship with death, knowing that the end of their human body need not be the absolute end of their consciousness, though what persists can hardly be called human anymore. Bran Stark discovered his ability to skin change after his fall from the tower left him unable to walk, his consciousness reaching out in dreams to touch his direwolf Summer. At first, the experiences seemed like vivid dreams. Bran running through forests on 4 legs, tasting blood from fresh kills. But gradually he learned they were more than dreams. With the guidance of the three-eyed raven in his visions, Bran developed his ability beyond simple warging with Summer, learning to enter ravens, to slip his mind into Hodor the stable boy, and eventually to touch the weirwood trees themselves and see through their carved eyes across time and space. Bran's gift proved stronger than common skin changing, marking him as a green seer, one of the rare individuals who can do more than merely control animals. His consciousness could reach across vast distances, viewing events far from his physical body, and in time, he could even look into the past, watching history unfold through the memories held in weirwood trees. This power came with a price. The more time Bran spent in Summer's mind or seeing through ravens, the harder it became to remember being a crippled boy, the temptation growing to simply stay in Summer's body and run free forever. The bond between a warg and their wolf is the deepest of all skin-changing connections, something in the wolf's nature resonating with human consciousness in ways other animals do not. Wolves accept human minds more readily than bears or cats, their pack instincts allowing them to view the skin changer as part of their family rather than an invader. A warg can feel their wolf's emotions, the excitement of the hunt, the contentment of a full belly, the love for pack members, and the wolf in turn seems to understand the human's feelings, responding to unspoken needs and desires. This connection allows for a level of control and cooperation that goes beyond trained animals, the wolf acting not as a servant, but as an extension of the warg's will. The Stark children's bonds with their direwolves exemplify this connection, each wolf matching their human's personality and needs, the relationships growing deeper as the children aged and the wolves grew large. Some fans have theorized that when Jon Snow was stabbed by his brothers of the Night's Watch in the books, his consciousness might have fled into Ghost, living a second life as his direwolf while his body died or lingered near death. This theory points to the precedent of skin changers surviving in their bonded animals, to the bond between Jon and Ghost, and to Jon's apparent latent warging ability, shown through wolf dreams. However, this remains speculation, a theory popular among readers but not confirmed in the published books. The show resolved Jon's death differently, with Melisandre resurrecting him through R'hllor's power, but the books have not yet revealed Jon's fate beyond the knives finding their marks. Whether Jon's consciousness spent time in Ghost, or whether his story takes an entirely different turn remains unknown, and speculation must be clearly marked as such rather than presented as established fact. The possibility exists within the rules of the world, but possibility is not certainty, and the truth awaits future books that may never come. Entering the mind of a human being is considered the greatest abomination a skin changer can commit, a violation that goes beyond murder into something darker. The human mind is not like an animal's. It is complex, self-aware, able to resist and fight back in ways no beast can match. When Varamir attempted to take over Thistle's body as his own form died, forcing his consciousness into her mind to steal her life as his second existence, she fought him with a strength he did not expect. Thistle's mind was a fortress, rejecting him violently, and the attempt left both of them damaged, Varamir expelled, and Thistle's mind shattered by the invasion. The taboo against this practice exists not just from morality, but from practicality. Humans resist being worn as skin, and the attempt often destroys both parties. Even successful possession, rare as it might be, leaves the victim's consciousness trapped within their own body, screaming silently as someone else controls their limbs, a horror beyond description. The wildlings would hunt down and kill anyone known to practice this art, viewing it as worse than murder, worse than cannibalism, a crime against the essential nature of humanity itself. Hodor, the simple-minded stable boy of Winterfell whose only word was his own name, had his mind entered by Bran Stark on several occasions when Bran needed his great strength. At first, Bran did this in desperation, during moments of danger when Hodor's size and power were necessary for survival. Slipping into Hodor's mind was easier than entering Summer or other animals, perhaps because Hodor's simple thoughts offered less resistance, or perhaps because something about Hodor made him vulnerable to such invasion. While inside Hodor's body, Bran could control his actions completely, making the large man fight or carry or move as needed. Hodor himself seemed to vanish when Bran wore him, the gentle giant's consciousness pushed aside or down into darkness. When Bran released control, Hodor would return confused and sometimes frightened, aware that time had passed and he had done things without choosing to do them. This practice, though necessary for survival, was precisely the abomination that skin changer law forbade, a violation of Hodor's essential personhood, even if done without malice. The revelation in the show that Hodor was a corruption of "hold the door," a command from Bran that broke Wylis's mind across time, adds another layer of tragedy to this simple soul's fate. The shadowcat is a large predator of the mountains of the moon and other high places, a great spotted cat that hunts ibex and sheep on rocky slopes where horses cannot follow. These cats are larger than the greatest hunting hounds, with fangs as long as daggers and claws that can open a man from throat to belly in one swipe. Their fur is gray-brown marked with darker spots and rings, camouflage perfect for rocky mountainsides where they make their dens. Shadowcats are solitary hunters, territorial and aggressive, and the mountain clans of the Vale prize their pelts as marks of courage and skill. Varamir Sixskins controlled a shadowcat for years, one of his 6 beasts, using it to hunt and to kill enemies from ambush. Through the cat's eyes, he could climb sheer cliffs and move through terrain no human could navigate, stalking prey with perfect silence. The shadowcat's mind was harder to control than a wolf's, more independent and resistant. But once mastered, it provided abilities no wolf could match. These cats have been hunted extensively in the Vale, their numbers declining as lords clear the mountains for safer roads. But in the high places where the clans still roam, shadowcats remain apex predators, feared and respected in equal measure. Snow bears are massive, white-furred bears that inhabit the lands beyond the wall, creatures of pure predatory power adapted to frozen wastes. They can stand 12 feet tall on their hind legs, with forepaws large enough to encompass a man's head, claws that can tear through leather and flesh to bone beneath. A snow bear's fur is thick enough to turn aside arrows that don't strike perfectly, and their strength allows them to break through wooden walls or overturn carts with single blows. These bears are aggressive when encountered, defending their territory fiercely and seeing humans as potential threats or prey. Varamir Sixskins wore a snow bear among his collection, using its power in battles where wolves would be insufficient. The bear's mind was alien compared to wolves or cats, driven by simpler hungers but harder to control, the animal's independent will constantly pushing against the skin changer's commands. When Varamir died and his consciousness scattered, his snow bear was among the beasts that might have received his failing spirit, though which animal ultimately housed his second life remained unclear even to him in those final moments. Eagles and hawks serve skin changers as scouts and messengers, their sharp eyes able to spot prey or enemies from heights where they appear as mere specks to those below. An eagle's vision is several times more acute than human sight, able to distinguish individual faces from hundreds of feet in the air, to spot movement in grass or snow that would be invisible from the ground. Through an eagle's eyes, a skin changer can range far beyond their body, scouting terrain, finding safe paths, or locating prey for hunting. The eagle's mind is focused and fierce, a predator's thoughts concerned with territory and food and the simple joy of flight. Orell, a wildling skin changer and enemy of Jon Snow, lived much of his life in his eagle, and when Jon killed Orell's human body, the skin changer's consciousness fled into the bird. The eagle retained Orell's hatred, attacking Jon repeatedly, the bird's claws raking at eyes and face with malice beyond animal instinct. This eagle's ability to hold a grudge, to remember and hate across the boundary of species, demonstrated how a skin changer's consciousness can persist in their animal, bringing human emotions into a beast's simpler mind. Ravens, particularly the large black ravens used by Meisters to carry messages, can be touched by skin changers, though their minds are strange and difficult to navigate. A raven's thoughts jump and scatter, focused on bright objects and shiny things, food and flight, without the focused purpose of predator birds. Bran learned to slip into ravens during his training with the three-eyed raven, using them to see distant places and to practice controlling multiple bodies at once. The three-eyed raven himself, the ancient green seer Brynden Rivers, had once kept an albino raven as a companion when he was Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and some believe his consciousness touched that bird even in his human life. The Citadel breeds white ravens specifically to announce changes in seasons. These birds larger and more intelligent than their common black cousins. Whether these white ravens possess some magical quality or are simply bred for size and cleverness, they serve as important messengers, their color distinguishing them from common message ravens, so their news is immediately recognized as coming from the Meisters themselves. The kraken is a creature of the deep oceans, a massive cephalopod with tentacles long enough to pull ships beneath the waves. These beasts are rare but real, occasionally surfacing in shipping lanes or attacking fishing vessels when food grows scarce in the depths. A kraken's body can span 30 feet or more, with tentacles twice that length, each sucker-covered arm strong enough to crack a ship's mast or pull a man into the water. They dwell in deep trenches where light never penetrates, hunting giant squid and fish that swim in eternal darkness. The Ironborn of the Iron Islands have taken the kraken as their sigil, seeing in the beast a symbol of the sea's power and the strength of those who reap its bounty. Ancient Ironborn legends speak of krakens large enough to pull entire longships down, of battles between ships and beasts where brave men drove harpoons into tentacled flesh. Whether such enormous krakens ever existed, or whether the stories have grown with retelling, cannot be known. But fishermen still occasionally pull up remnants of tentacles thick as tree trunks in their nets, proof that something massive dwells in the ocean's depths. The drowned god of the Ironborn is sometimes depicted with a kraken for a face or body, the beast representing the power and mystery of the depths from which the Ironborn claim their god rules. Whether the drowned god is real or merely the Ironborn's interpretation of the sea's power, the kraken serves as a perfect symbol. Powerful, mysterious, dwelling in depths where light cannot reach, capable of pulling the strongest ships down to darkness. The priests of the drowned god, who drown men in seawater and revive them to prove their faith, sometimes speak of seeing krakens in their visions while dead, great tentacled shapes moving through underwater halls. Whether these visions show truth or are merely the hallucinations of drowning minds starved of air, the kraken remains central to ironborn mythology and practical fear, a creature that commands both reverence and terror from a people who make their living on the waves. Naga was a sea dragon of ancient legend, said to be a monstrous serpent who lived in the Grey King's time, thousands of years before the events of the main story. According to Ironborn myth, Naga was the first sea dragon, a beast so massive that her jaws could swallow entire longships, her body longer than a cliff is tall. The Grey King, legendary hero of the Ironborn, hunted Naga and slew her after a battle that lasted generations, finally managing to trap the beast and drive a sword through her eye. Her body washed ashore on the island of Old Wick, and her massive ribs formed the structure on which the Grey King built his hall, the greatest long hall ever constructed. The bones of Naga supposedly still stand on Old Wick, enormous curved structures of pale stone that form arches tall enough for giants to walk beneath. Whether these are truly the petrified bones of a sea dragon, or merely natural rock formations weathered into rib-like shapes, none can say with certainty. The story of Naga embodies the Ironborn's view of themselves as conquerors of the sea, able to face even the ocean's greatest monsters and emerge victorious. Sea dragons, if they ever existed, are now extinct or so rare that no confirmed sighting has occurred in recorded history. Legends speak of serpentine creatures with scaled bodies and fins rather than legs, able to breathe both in water and air, swimming through waves as dragons fly through sky. These beasts supposedly dwelt in the deepest trenches of the ocean, occasionally rising to the surface to hunt whales or attack ships. Some Meisters theorize that sea dragons were merely a different species of dragon adapted to aquatic life, perhaps created by Valyrian sorcerers through the same blood magic that produced land dragons. Others suggest that tales of sea dragons are distortions of real encounters with giant squids, oarfish, or other large marine creatures, the stories growing in the telling until natural beasts became magical monsters. If sea dragons ever lived, they left no bones on beaches, no eggs in caves, nothing but stories passed down by sailors and ironborn priests. The possibility of their existence adds to the mystery of the ocean's depths, to the question of what might dwell in places where no human has ever ventured. Merlings appear in sailors' tales and fishermen's songs, creatures that are half human and half fish, dwelling beneath the waves in underwater kingdoms. These beings are described as having the upper body of a human and the lower body of a fish, covered in scales that shimmer green and blue and silver. In some stories, Merlings are beautiful and benevolent, helping sailors in distress or warning them of storms. In others, they are sinister creatures who lure men overboard to drown in the depths. Some tales speak of Merlings taking human form on land, walking among us disguised, their true nature revealed only by webbed fingers or a taste for raw fish. There are no confirmed sightings of Merlings, no bodies washed ashore, no eggs or scales beyond what fish normally provide. Most Meisters dismiss Merlings as pure fancy, the invention of lonely sailors and superstitious fishermen. Yet the stories persist across cultures and continents, from the Iron Islands to the Summer Isles, each region having their own tales of fish people in the depths. Whether merlings exist as folklore or as some rare and elusive species avoiding human contact, they remain creatures of mystery, dwelling in imagination if nowhere else. The deep ones are mentioned in the strange tale of The Fisherman's Daughter, a story recorded by Meisters, but given little credence beyond its entertainment value. According to the legend, deep ones are creatures that dwell far beneath the waves in the black depths, where no light penetrates. They are described as having vaguely humanoid shapes, but covered in scales, with bulging eyes adapted to darkness, and mouths full of needle-sharp teeth. The fisherman's daughter supposedly married one of these deep ones and went to live beneath the waves, bearing hybrid children who were neither fully human nor fully whatever their father was. The tale is almost certainly pure fantasy, invented to explain unusual children born with deformities, or to warn young women against trusting strange men who arrive by sea. Yet, like all legends, it persists because it touches on deeper fears: the fear of what dwells in ocean depths, the fear of the alien and unknown, the horror of the human form twisted into something other. Whether deep ones have any basis in reality or are purely the invention of storytellers, they represent the ocean's role as a place of mystery and potential danger. Leviathans and sea serpents appear in countless sailors' tales, massive creatures that break the surface in shipping lanes, their bodies longer than the largest ships. Descriptions vary wildly. Some speak of serpents with scales and fins, others of smooth-skinned beasts like enormous eels, still others of creatures that seem to be all teeth and thrashing coils. These sightings are often dismissed as misidentifications of whales, giant squids, or oarfish, real marine creatures that can appear monstrous when glimpsed briefly from a ship's deck. Yet some reports are harder to dismiss. Descriptions from reliable captains who swear they saw something that matched no known species, something that moved with purpose and intelligence, that seemed to examine their ship with alien curiosity before sinking back into the depths. The ocean is vast and largely unexplored, its deepest trenches never seen by human eyes, and it is entirely possible that creatures unknown to Meisters and fishmongers alike swim through those dark waters, surfacing rarely and leaving no evidence beyond shaken sailors' tales. The basilisks of Sothorios are massive reptilian predators that can grow to lengths of 50 feet or more, serpentine bodies covered in scales harder than boiled leather, with jaws capable of swallowing a man whole. These creatures dwell in the dense jungles of the southern continent, a land so hostile and disease-ridden that few explorers have returned to tell accurate tales. Basilisks come in several varieties. Some are aquatic, lurking in rivers and swamps, while others are terrestrial, hunting through jungle undergrowth. Their eyes are yellow and cold, reflecting no emotion or mercy, and their method of hunting relies on patience, lying motionless for hours or days until prey comes within striking distance. A basilisk's bite carries venom in some species, though the crushing power of their jaws is deadly enough without poison. The larger varieties are said to be able to overturn boats or pull horses down, dragging prey into water to drown before consuming it. The few Westerosi who have ventured to Sothorios speak of these creatures with fear, describing jungles where basilisks rule as dragons once ruled the skies of Valyria. Manticoras are scorpion-like creatures native to the deserts and rocky places of Essos, particularly around the regions near Korth and the Red Waste. They are larger than any scorpion of Westeros, some growing as large as hunting hounds, with segmented bodies covered in chitinous plates and a curved tail that ends in a venomous stinger. The manticore's poison is especially deadly, causing a death that appears natural at first: fever, weakness, organ failure, making it a favored tool of assassins who raise and milk the creatures for their venom. A manticore's sting leads to death within hours for most victims, the poison having no known antidote beyond the strongest healing magic or prayers to merciful gods. These creatures are sometimes kept in cages by those who deal in death, fed on rats and small animals, their venom collected in tiny vials worth more than gold in certain markets. Wild manticores hunt at night, their many eyes adapted to darkness, preying on rodents, birds, and unwary travelers who sleep on the ground. The click of their chelicerae and the scrape of their claws on stone serve as warnings to those who know the sound, a signal to seek shelter before these venomous hunters come calling. War elephants are massive beasts used in the armies of Volantis and other free cities of Essos, creatures that stand 3 times the height of a man at the shoulder, with thick gray skin and tusks of ivory that curved forward like great spears. These elephants are descended from herds that roamed the plains of Essos for millennia, captured and trained from birth to serve in battle. A war elephant can carry a wooden tower on its back holding archers or spearmen, its size and strength making it a moving fortress that can break through infantry formations or demolish gates and walls. The elephants trumpet when charging, a sound that terrifies horses and unnerves even veteran soldiers, and their charge is nearly unstoppable, tons of muscle and bone bearing down at surprising speed. Controlling these beasts requires handlers trained from childhood, men who develop bonds with their elephants through years of daily care, learning the subtle signals that indicate the animal's mood and needs. In battle, a panicked elephant is as dangerous to its own side as to the enemy, able to trample through ranks of soldiers, crushing allies and foes alike. The howdahs mounted on their backs must be carefully balanced, and the mahouts who guide them must remain calm even when surrounded by fire and screaming, for an elephant reads its handler's fear as surely as it reads terrain. Zorcies are the hybrid offspring of zebras and horses, creatures with the size and temperament closer to horses but marked with the distinctive stripes of their zebra parentage. These animals are bred by the Dothraki and other horsemen of the eastern grasslands, valued for their endurance and resistance to certain diseases that afflict pure-blooded horses. A Zorce's coat displays patterns of brown and black stripes, sometimes covering the entire body, other times appearing only on the legs or hindquarters. They are more temperamental than horses, harder to train, retaining some of the zebra's independent spirit and wariness of predators. Yet, for those who can master them, Zorcies make excellent mounts for long journeys across harsh terrain, able to survive on sparse grazing and bitter water that would sicken pampered destriers. The Dothraki prize unusual mounts as marks of status, and a warrior riding a well-trained Zorse commands respect for both their horsemanship and their ability to tame a creature that resists domestication. These hybrids cannot reliably breed true, each generation requiring fresh crossing of zebra and horse, making them rarer and more valuable than common horses. The Dothraki Sea, that vast grassland that stretches across central Essos, is home to horses numbered in the thousands, herds that move like waves across the endless plains. The Dothraki people are born in the saddle, their culture built entirely around horsemanship and the care of their mounts. Their horses are bred for speed and endurance, smaller than the destriers of Westerosi knights, but faster and able to travel farther without rest. A Dothraki warrior's worth is measured partly in horses, and to walk rather than ride is a shame beyond bearing for one of their people. These horses are raised from birth among humans, handled constantly, forming bonds that make them responsive to voice and knee commands in ways that go beyond typical riding training. The Dothraki claim they can speak to their horses, that the beasts understand their language, and while this is likely exaggeration, the partnership between Dothraki and horse is undeniable. When a great Khal dies, his horse is sacrificed to accompany him into the afterlife. The bond between rider and mount considered too strong to sever even in death. The horse's heart is fed to the Khal's wife if she carries his child, a ritual meant to pass the horse's strength to the unborn heir. Destriers are the massive war horses of Westerosi knights, bred for size and strength to carry men in full-plate armor into battle. These horses stand taller than common riding horses, with thick necks and powerful legs, coats groomed to shine like polished metal. A good destrier is worth a small fortune, its training as intensive as any knight's, learning to charge on command, to strike with hooves, to remain calm amid the chaos of battle. These horses are fed rich grain and the finest hay, kept in individual stalls and cared for by dedicated grooms who monitor every aspect of their health. In tournaments, a knight's destrier is as much a display of wealth and status as his armor, the horse's coat often matching the knight's colors, its tack decorated with silver and gold. Yet destriers are not merely show animals. They are weapons, trained to bite and kick enemies, to carry their riders through press of battle, to respond instantly to rein and spur. A knight who loses his destrier in battle is at severe disadvantage, reduced to fighting on foot where his heavy armor becomes burden rather than protection. The bond between knight and destrier, while perhaps not as mystical as between Dothraki and their horses, is nonetheless deep, built through countless hours of training and the trust required to face death together. Sand steeds of Dorne are horses adapted to desert life, lighter and faster than northern breeds, with extraordinary endurance in heat and harsh terrain. These horses can travel for days with limited water, their bodies efficiently conserving moisture, their hooves specially shaped to provide better traction in sand. Dornish riders prize speed and agility over the raw strength of destriers, their combat style relying on hit-and-run tactics rather than the thunderous charges favored by northern knights. A sand steed can maintain a ground-eating trot for hours, covering distances that would exhaust heavier horses, and in the rocky passes and sandy wastes of Dorne, this endurance proves more valuable than size. The horses' coats tend toward chestnuts and grays that blend with desert colors, providing natural camouflage when raiders need to hide from patrols. Dornish riders form strong bonds with their mounts, the isolation of desert travel creating relationships where horse becomes companion as much as transportation. These horses are not sold outside Dorne, except as rare gifts, the Dornish considering their breeding techniques and bloodlines to be secrets worth guarding. Aurochs are massive, wild cattle that still roam certain forests and plains of Westeros. Enormous beasts with curved horns span reaching 6 feet from tip to tip, standing taller at the shoulder than a mounted man. These creatures are the ancestors of domestic cattle, but far larger and more aggressive. Their bulls particularly dangerous during mating season when they will charge anything that enters their territory. An auroch's coat is dark brown to black, its hide thick enough that hunting arrows must be perfectly placed to bring one down. The first men hunted aurochs as both food source and test of courage, the killing of a bull auroch being a rite of passage for young warriors. Aurochs' meat feeds many people, and their hides make leather tougher than that from domestic cattle, prized for making armor and hardy boots. These beasts are most common beyond the wall, where they roam in small herds through forests and tundra, but scattered populations still exist in the deep forests of the north and riverlands. The sight of a full-grown auroch bull is impressive and intimidating. Several tons of muscle and aggression, a reminder of a time when wild creatures ruled lands now tamed by farms and roads. Cave bears are the largest bears in the known world, massive predators that can weigh over 2,000 pounds and stand 10 feet tall on their hind legs. These bears are found in mountain caves throughout Westeros and beyond, hibernating through winter and emerging in spring ravenous and ill-tempered. A cave bear's claws are longer than daggers, capable of disemboweling a horse with a single swipe, and their bite can crush a man's skull like an egg. Despite their size, cave bears can move with surprising speed when attacking, able to run down deer or tackle adult elk. They are primarily solitary, except during mating season, or when a mother is raising cubs, and their territories span miles of mountainous terrain that they defend viciously against intruders. The wildlings beyond the wall consider cave bears to be spirits of the mountain, treating their hunting with respect and ritual, taking only what is needed and leaving offerings to the bear's spirit. The pelt of a cave bear is thick and warm, large enough to serve as a cloak for a giant, and the meat, though tough and gamey, can sustain a family through hard times. To kill a cave bear is a feat that marks a hunter as skilled and brave, the scars earned in such hunts worn as badges of honor. Lions once roamed freely throughout the Westerlands, golden-furred predators that gave House Lannister their sigil and their words. These are not the massive lions of legend, but real predators nonetheless. Big cats weighing 300 to 400 pounds, with males bearing impressive manes of darker gold. Lions hunt in prides, the females doing most of the killing while males defend territory and cubs. They prey on deer, wild goats, and occasionally livestock, which brought them into conflict with farmers and shepherds. Over centuries, the lions were hunted extensively, their numbers reduced until they became rare even in the rocky hills of the Westerlands, where they once thrived. Now, only scattered individuals or small prides remain in the remotest regions, seldom seen by humans. The Lannisters maintain a menagerie at Casterly Rock that includes several lions kept in cages, symbols of house power even as their wild cousins vanish from the land. The roar of a lion carries for miles, a sound that once echoed through western hills and now exists mostly in memory, replaced by the bleat of sheep and the ring of miners' picks. Shadowcats, already mentioned for their use by skin changers, deserve further consideration as creatures in their own right. These great cats make their homes in mountains throughout Westeros, from the mountains of the Moon in the Vale to the high peaks of the north. They are apex predators in their terrain, able to take down prey much larger than themselves through stealth and the advantage of high ground. A shadowcat's spotted coat blends perfectly with rocky slopes, allowing it to approach within leaping distance before prey realizes danger. They hunt at dawn and dusk primarily, when their camouflage works best and when mountain goats and other prey are most active. Shadowcats are territorial, marking their ranges with claw marks on trees and rocks, and will fight viciously against others of their kind who intrude. The mountain clans of the Vale hunt shadowcats both for their pelts and as proof of courage, young warriors earning their names by bringing back a shadowcat skin. These cats avoid humans when possible, but will attack if cornered or if defending cubs. And a cornered shadowcat is among the most dangerous animals in Westeros, all claws and teeth and desperate fury. Melisandre of Ashai gave birth to a shadow, a creature born from blood magic and the power of R'hllor, though the process and nature of this being defies natural understanding. The shadow emerged from her womb as darkness given form, a thing of pure shadow that somehow possessed solid substance, able to interact with the physical world despite being made of darkness. It wore the shape of Stannis Baratheon, the man whose blood and seed were used in its creation, a twisted reflection that served as perfect disguise and symbol. This shadow moved through the world with unnatural speed and silence, able to pass through small spaces like smoke, yet solid enough to grip a dagger and drive it into living flesh. The shadow that killed Renly Baratheon appeared in his tent despite guards posted outside, materialized from darkness as if the shadows of the tent itself had come alive and taken murderous form. Witnesses described a figure of smoke and darkness, there and gone in heartbeats, leaving behind only a corpse and the smell of sulfur. The creation of such beings requires great power and comes at terrible cost. Each shadow weakens the one who births it, draining life force and vitality. Melisandre could not create many such shadows without risking her own existence, the magic demanding a price in life for life. The shadow that took Ser Courtenay Penrose's life at Storm's End was born in similar fashion. Another dark assassin sent to remove an obstacle Stannis could not overcome through conventional siege. Courtenay held Storm's End's gates against Stannis' army, refusing to surrender, his defiance unbreakable through threats or negotiation. The shadows slipped through stone and iron as if they were mist, appearing in Courtenay's chambers and hurling him from the walls to his death below. Those who found the body reported that Courtenay's face was frozen in an expression of horror, having seen something in his final moments that terror cannot adequately describe. The shadow's ability to pass through physical barriers makes it the perfect assassin, able to reach targets thought safe behind walls and guards. Yet its use is limited by the cost of its creation, and perhaps by other factors: distance from the caster, strength of the target's will, or limitations of the magic itself. These shadows are not independent beings, but extensions of the one who births them, seeing through their eyes, moving with their will, existing only so long as the ritual power sustains them. Ashai by the Shadow, the mysterious city at the far edge of the known world, is said to be home to creatures that exist nowhere else, beings born from the concentrated magic and darkness that permeates that ancient place. The descriptions are vague and contradictory, filtered through the reports of sailors who claim to have visited, and through Melisandre's occasional cryptic references. Some speak of creatures made entirely of shadow, formless things that hunt in Ashai's streets at night. Others mention beasts that are part flesh and part something else, their forms wrong in ways that hurt to contemplate, as if their bodies reject natural law. The Shadowbinders of Ashai are said to command such creatures, using them as servants or guards or tools of assassination. Whether these are real beings, spirits given temporary form, or hallucinations caused by the toxic air and strange drugs prevalent in that city, none outside Ashai can say with certainty. Ashai itself is built of black stone that seems to drink light, the city perpetually shrouded in gloom, despite being located in southern latitudes where sun should blaze. What dwells in that darkness, what creatures call those black stone buildings home, remains largely unknown to Westeros, a mystery as deep as the Shadowlands themselves. Blood magic, the darkest of sorcerous arts, can create life or things that resemble life, though the results are often twisted and terrible. The shadows born from Melisandre are one example, but blood magic encompasses far more. The creation of the White Walkers themselves may have involved such rituals, and the hatching of Daenerys's dragon eggs certainly required death and blood to fuel the spell. Blood magic demands sacrifice. The greater the magic, the greater the price required. Life for life is the usual exchange, though not always in direct proportion. Sometimes many deaths fuel the creation of a single powerful being. Sometimes a single death of great significance can accomplish what a dozen lesser sacrifices cannot. The magic is ancient, predating the Valyrians, though they mastered it to heights perhaps never achieved before or since. In Valyria, blood magic was used to bind dragons to human will, to create the Valyrian roads that never need repair, to forge steel stronger than any natural metal. But blood magic always carries risk. The forces involved are not fully under any practitioner's control, and mistakes or miscalculations can result in horrors that destroy the sorcerer and everyone around them. Some believe the doom of Valyria itself resulted from blood magic gone catastrophically wrong. The entire peninsula shattered by forces meant to be harnessed, but instead unleashed. The Basilisk Isles east of Sothorios are said to harbor even larger and more deadly varieties of the great reptiles than the mainland, some species found nowhere else. These islands are largely unexplored, their shores treacherous with reefs and their interiors impenetrable jungle where diseases kill as surely as predators. Sailors who claim to have landed there speak of basilisks with horned heads, others that can change color like chameleons to blend with their surroundings, and some that hunt in packs like wolves, despite being solitary in other regions. One particularly terrifying variety is said to have a roar that can paralyze prey, the sound triggering some instinctive freeze response in mammals that leaves them helpless as the basilisk approaches. Whether these accounts are truth or tavern tales grown in the telling, the Basilisk Isles remain largely avoided by sensible captains. The potential for profit in exotic animals and rare plants outweighed by the certainty of losing crew to predators, disease, and poisonous flora. Blood flies of Sothorios are tiny insects that swarm in clouds thick enough to darken the sun, their bites carrying diseases that can kill within days. These flies are smaller than a thumbnail, with iridescent wings and a proboscis that pierces skin to drink blood. A single bite is merely irritating, but the flies attack in thousands, covering exposed flesh and finding ways through even the smallest gaps in clothing. The diseases they carry have names in various languages: Red Death, Bronze Blight, Sweet Rot, each one deadly, some causing fever and delirium, others rotting flesh while the victim still lives. Explorers who venture into Sothorios must wear thick clothing despite the heat, cover their faces with cloth, and move quickly through areas where bloodflies swarm. Many expeditions to the southern continent have been turned back not by basilisks or hostile natives, but by these tiny insects, entire crews falling sick within days of landing, dying in agony as fevers consumed them. The blood flies are perhaps Sothorios' most effective defense against colonization, making permanent settlement nearly impossible in most regions. Elephants used in war must be trained from birth, the process taking years and requiring handlers who devote their lives to a single animal. The training begins when the elephant is still young enough to be controlled, teaching it to accept a rider, to respond to commands, to become accustomed to the sounds and smells of battle. As the elephant grows, its training intensifies, learning to charge on command, to use its tusks as weapons, to push through obstacles without panicking. The greatest challenge is maintaining the elephant's calm amid fire, for elephants fear flames and will flee from them even against their handlers' commands. War elephants are sometimes armored, their foreheads covered in bronze or iron plates, their flanks protected by leather barding, but the weight of armor must be balanced against the animal's ability to move effectively. In battle, a war elephant is both blessing and curse, devastating when controlled, catastrophic if it panics. History records numerous instances of elephants turning and stampeding through their own army, causing more damage to allies than to enemies. Yet, when properly deployed against infantry or cavalry unfamiliar with them, war elephants can break formations through sheer terror, horses refusing to face such massive beasts, men fleeing rather than standing against the charge. The Grey King of ancient Ironborn legend is said to have ruled not just the Iron Islands but the sea itself, taking a mermaid for his wife and sitting his throne in a hall built from the bones of Naga the sea dragon. His reign supposedly lasted thousands of years, an impossibility that marks the story as myth rather than history. Yet the Ironborn tell it as truth. The Grey King's sons became the first lords of the Iron Islands, each ruling a different island, their descendants forming the great houses that persist to the present day. According to legend, the Grey King carved his crown from Naga's teeth, each tooth as long as a sword, and his throne from her jaws. He taught the Ironborn to sail, to reave, to take what they needed from a hostile world rather than begging the earth for crops. Whether any of this has basis in truth, or whether the Grey King is pure invention, a heroic figure created to give the Ironborn a legendary ancestor, the stories serve their purpose, binding the islands together through shared mythology, providing justification for their way of life, connecting them to the sea they consider their true home. Fireworms are mentioned in Valyrian texts as creatures that dwelled in the volcanic mountains of the 14 Flames, serpentine beings of living fire that burrowed through molten rock as fish swim through water. These creatures, if they existed, may have been what the Valyrians discovered when they first ventured into the volcanic region. And some theories suggest that dragon breeding involved capturing fireworms and somehow altering them through blood magic into the winged dragons that became the Empire's greatest weapons. Other scholars dismiss fireworms as purely mythical, inventions to explain the volcanic activity of the flames or to add mystique to the Valyrians' mastery of dragons. No confirmed fireworm has been seen since the Doom, and if they survived the cataclysm that destroyed Valyria, they dwell now in the ruins where no sane person ventures. The smoking sea that marks where Valyria once stood is said to be still home to demons and monsters, the shattered land twisted by magical catastrophe into something that defies natural law. Whether fireworms crawl through those ruins, or whether they ever existed at all, remains one of many mysteries the Doom left in its wake. Wyverns are often confused with dragons, but they are distinct creatures, smaller with only 2 legs instead of 4, and lacking the intelligence that characterizes true dragons. Wyverns have wings, a serpentine body, and powerful hind legs with talons. but their forelimbs are part of their wing structure rather than separate appendages. They breathe no fire, relying instead on fangs, claws, and venomous bites to kill prey. Wyverns are found in the mountains of Sothorios and in some regions of Essos, though they are rare enough that most people never see one. They are aggressive and territorial, attacking anything that enters their domain, though their size makes them more nuisance than existential threat, unlike true dragons. A wyvern's wingspan might reach 15 feet, large enough to threaten individual humans but incapable of carrying off horses or threatening armies. Some maesters theorize that wyverns are degenerated dragons, perhaps descendants of Valyrian dragons that escaped and survived in the wild, gradually losing their greater size and intelligence over generations. Others argue wyverns are an entirely separate species that merely resembles dragons through coincidental evolution. Whatever their origin, wyverns represent a pale echo of true dragon kind, dangerous to the unwary, but lacking the world-shaping power that dragons once wielded. Ravens of the Citadel are specially bred and trained to carry messages between castles and cities, their ability to navigate hundreds of miles and return home making them invaluable for communication. These black birds are larger than common ravens, selected through generations of breeding for size, intelligence, and homing ability. A raven can be taught to fly between specific locations, learning the route through training flights that gradually increase in distance. The birds navigate using the sun, stars, and perhaps other senses not fully understood, able to find their destination across terrain they have never seen. They can carry messages in small cylinders attached to their legs, the weight carefully limited to avoid hindering flight. Ravens are intelligent birds, capable of learning words and mimicking human speech, though most do not develop this skill beyond a few simple phrases. The Order of Maesters maintains rookeries throughout the Seven Kingdoms, breeding and training ravens, ensuring that every lord has access to this communication network. In times of war, when roads are unsafe and couriers might be intercepted, ravens become the primary means of transmitting information, their speed and reliability sometimes making the difference between victory and defeat. The three-eyed raven, who appears in Bran Stark's visions and dreams, is in truth Brynden Rivers, once known as Lord Bloodraven, a bastard son of King Aegon IV Targaryen, who lived over a century before the main events of the story. Brynden was a powerful sorcerer and skin changer even in his mortal life, serving as Hand of the King, and later as Lord Commander of the Night's Watch before disappearing beyond the wall on a ranging from which he never returned. What happened to him in the decades that followed transformed the man into something else entirely. He found his way to a cave of the Children of the Forest, where he underwent the ritual to become a full greenseer, his body merging with the roots of an ancient weirwood tree. When Bran finally reaches him, Bloodraven has been in that cave for decades, his physical form barely recognizable as human, roots growing through his body, his skin pale as bone, one eye remaining red while the other socket is empty and dark. Through this transformation, he gained the ability to see through every weirwood tree in Westeros, to look into the past through their memories, and to send his consciousness ranging through time itself. He appears to Bran as a three-eyed raven in dreams, using that form to guide the boy north, though whether the raven is merely a symbol or an actual bird through which Bloodraven's consciousness sometimes travels remains unclear. White ravens from the Citadel are larger than their black cousins, bred specifically for the purpose of announcing changes in seasons. when the Meisters determine that autumn has arrived or that winter has come. They release white ravens to every castle and keep in the 7 kingdoms. The bird's unusual color ensuring their message cannot be mistaken for common correspondence. These ravens are bred for size and intelligence, selected over generations to create birds that are both impressive and reliable. The white coloration is not albinism, but a true breeding characteristic, the birds having black eyes rather than the red eyes of albinos. They are kept separate from the black ravens in the citadel's rookery, treated with special care as befits their important role. A white raven's arrival is a momentous occasion, its appearance on the battlements signaling to small folk and nobility alike that the world has changed, that preparations must be made for the season ahead. In Westeros, where seasons can last for years, the transition from summer to autumn or autumn to winter is not merely a calendar change, but an event that affects everything from planting schedules to military campaigns to the likelihood of surviving the coming years. Hawks and falcons are used throughout Westeros for hunting, noble birds trained to pursue game birds and rabbits, returning to their handlers with prey clutched in their talons. These raptors have been bred and trained for centuries, the art of falconry being a mark of nobility and a practical method of obtaining food. A well-trained hunting hawk can spot a rabbit from hundreds of feet in the air, stoop at incredible speeds, and strike with talons that punch through flesh and bone. Falconers develop deep bonds with their birds through the training process, which involves hooding the young raptor, teaching it to return to the glove for food, and gradually building trust until the bird hunts freely but always returns. Different species are prized for different qualities. Gyre falcons for their size and power, peregrines for their speed, sparrowhawks for their agility in forests. A lord's mews, the building where hunting birds are kept, represents significant investment and expertise, with experienced falconers commanding high wages for their knowledge. The sight of a noble riding out with a hooded falcon on their wrist is iconic of aristocratic leisure, though the skill involved in falconry is considerable, and the practice serves practical purposes beyond mere sport. Skin changers have occasionally bonded with hawks and falcons, using their sharp eyes to scout terrain or spy on enemies from heights where humans appear as mere moving dots. Through a hawk's eyes, distances compress in strange ways. What seems far to human vision becomes close and detailed to the raptor's sight, individual features distinguishable from altitudes that would make humans invisible to normal observers. The hawk's mind is focused and fierce, concerned primarily with hunting and territory, with a predator's single-minded intensity that can be both useful and overwhelming to the human consciousness sharing its thoughts. Flying through a hawk feels different from seeing through earthbound animals. The sensation of air currents and the instinctive calculations of wind and trajectory providing experiences utterly foreign to human existence. Some skin changers become addicted to flight, spending more and more time in their raptors and less in their own bodies. The freedom of the sky making the limitations of human flesh seem unbearable by comparison. This is one of the dangers of skin changing. The animal's experiences can become more appealing than human life, leading the skin changer to neglect their body, and eventually perhaps to remain in the animal permanently, their human consciousness slowly dissolving into instinct and wind. Crows appear throughout the story both as common scavengers and as creatures of deeper significance. In the north, crows flock to battlefields and places of death, their black forms associated with the aftermath of violence. picking at corpses and calling to each other in voices that sound almost like speech. The Night's Watch are called crows by the wildlings, the black cloaks and association with the wall linking them to the birds in free folk imagination. Crows are intelligent birds, capable of using simple tools and remembering human faces, showing behavior that suggests thought rather than mere instinct. They mate for life and can live for decades, old crows becoming fixtures of particular locations, remembered by generations of humans. In folklore, crows are associated with magic and prophecy, their appearance sometimes interpreted as omens. The three-eyed crow that appears in Bran's dreams uses this form perhaps because crows are already liminal creatures in Westerosi imagination, associated with death and wisdom, boundaries and transitions. Whether the three-eyed crow exists as an actual bird or only as a symbol in visions, the choice of form carries meaning that resonates with ancient superstitions and observed truth about these black-feathered survivors. Horses, beyond the specific breeds already discussed, are fundamental to Westerosi civilization in ways that make them worthy of deeper consideration. A world without horses would be unrecognizable. Knights would not exist as a military force. Messages would travel at walking pace. Trade would be limited to what oxen could pull or men could carry. The relationship between humans and horses in Westeros mirrors that of our own medieval period, with horses serving as transportation, weapons of war, symbols of status, and companions. Different regions breed different types: coursers for speed, rounceys for everyday riding, palfreys for ladies and comfort, draft horses for heavy labor. The care of horses employs thousands of people across the Seven Kingdoms: farriers, grooms, breeders, trainers, horse leeches who treat injuries and illnesses. A destrier might cost as much as a small house, while a good courser represents months of a common man's wages. Losing a horse can be catastrophic for a traveling knight or merchant, stranding them far from help in a world where distances are measured in days of riding. Yet, despite their value and importance, horses are vulnerable to injury, disease, inadequate forage, and the stresses of war. An army's ability to maintain its horses often determines whether that army succeeds or falls apart on the march. Harpies are not creatures that exist in living flesh, but statues and symbols, particularly associated with the slave cities of Slaver's Bay in Essos. The harpy has the body of a woman and the wings of a bat or dragon, its talons outstretched as if to seize prey, rendered in bronze and stone throughout cities like Meereen, Yunkai, and Astapor. These images watch from pyramid tops and gateposts, embodying the old Giscari Empire that once ruled this region before Valyria destroyed it. The harpy represents the slaver's power, beautiful and terrible, feminine yet monstrous, able to fly above common humanity and strike from unexpected angles. When Daenerys conquers Meereen and attempts to abolish slavery, her enemies take the name Sons of the Harpy, using the ancient symbol to represent their resistance. But it is crucial to understand that harpies are purely symbolic in this world. There are no actual harpy creatures flying through Essosi skies, no monsters with women's faces and bat wings. They exist as art, as cultural memory, as political symbol, but not as living beings. This distinction matters because the world contains enough real monsters without inventing ones that do not exist, and the power of the harpy image lies precisely in its role as symbol rather than reality. Ice spiders as large as hounds appear in Old Nan's stories, creatures she claims existed during the long night when the White Walkers first came south. According to her tales, these spiders had legs of ice that could pierce armor, bodies like crystallized snow, and the ability to move in complete silence across frozen ground. The White Walkers supposedly rode these spiders into battle, 8-legged mounts that could climb walls and cross terrain where horses could not go. Old Nan speaks of these creatures with the certainty of remembered truth, insisting that the long night brought horrors beyond mere cold and darkness, that things existed then which the world has since forgotten or dismissed as legend. However, no Meister has ever documented an ice spider. No ranger of the Night's Watch in recorded history has reported seeing one, and no remains or evidence suggests they are anything more than stories. Whether ice spiders ever existed in some ancient era, or whether they are pure invention, cautionary tales meant to frighten children into obedience, or distorted memories of some other creature, cannot be determined with certainty. They remain in the realm of legend and nightmare, the kind of monster that might exist in a world where White Walkers are real, but which has left no trace for skeptics to examine. Creatures of the Dawn Age, that time before recorded history, when the children of the forest ruled Westeros unopposed, are known only through fragments and legends. It is said that giant wolves walked the land, larger even than direwolves, and that the seas held monsters that have since vanished into extinction or myth. Some tales speak of unicorns in the forests of the north, though whether these were real creatures or simply horses with deformities or decorations is impossible to know. The children themselves left no written records, their history preserved only in songs passed down through generations. And by the time the first men arrived with their bronze axes and need to clear forests for farming, much of the Dawn Age's fauna had already declined. The continent was warmer then, some Meisters believe, allowing creatures to thrive that later ice ages pushed into extinction. The breaking of the Arm of Dorne, whether accomplished through magic or natural cataclysm, would have isolated populations and disrupted migration patterns, leading to further extinctions. What we know of this era is fragmentary at best, reconstructed from children's stories, from faces carved in weirwoods, from bones discovered in cave systems where they've lain for thousands of years. The Dawn Age holds secrets that Westeros has forgotten, creatures that lived and died before humans arrived to record their existence. Oxen and cattle, while less romantic than destriers or dragons, are fundamental to Westerosi agriculture and transportation. Oxen pull plows that break the earth for planting, haul wagons loaded with grain or goods to market, and provide the muscle for heavy labor that builds roads and structures. These are castrated bulls, their aggressive impulses removed, trained from youth to respond to voice commands and the guidance of a goad. A team of oxen can pull loads that would require many horses, working all day at a steady pace that, while slower than horses, can be maintained for longer periods. Cattle provide meat, milk, leather, bone for tools, and their manure enriches the soil for next year's crops. A farmer's wealth is measured partly in cattle, and the theft of cows or oxen can destroy a family's livelihood as surely as a burned crop. During wars, armies requisition cattle both for food and for transport, often leaving farmers destitute and unable to plant the next season. The humble cow shapes Westerosi life as much as any dragon or wolf, though songs celebrate the exotic while taking the essential for granted. Mules, the hybrid offspring of male donkeys and female horses, serve as pack animals throughout Westeros, valued for their endurance and sure-footedness on difficult terrain. A mule combines the best qualities of both parents, stronger than a donkey, more reliable than a horse, with remarkable endurance and an ability to navigate mountain paths that would terrify purebred horses. Mules are famously stubborn, refusing to work when mistreated or when they sense danger. But this stubbornness comes from intelligence rather than contrariness. A mule that refuses to cross a bridge is often correct that the structure is unsafe, and handlers learn to trust their animal's judgment. Like Zorces, mules are almost always sterile, unable to reproduce, meaning each generation must be bred fresh from horse and donkey stock. They are less prestigious than horses, considered working animals rather than noble steeds. But anyone who has traveled mountain roads or needed to haul supplies through difficult terrain understands their value. Merchants and tinkers favor mules, as do the Brothers of the Night's Watch for ranging beyond the wall, where the animal's ability to subsist on poor forage and their resistance to cold makes them more practical than pampered horses. Dogs serve countless purposes throughout Westeros, from hunting hounds to guard dogs to the simple companions that sleep by hearths and follow children through streets. Certain breeds are recognized: the massive hounds used by Sandor Clegane's house, the sleek coursing dogs that chase down deer, the terriers that hunt rats in granaries, the mastiffs that guard estates and fight in pits. Dogs have lived alongside humans for so long that the partnership seems natural and inevitable. Yet it represents thousands of years of breeding and selection, of humans shaping wolves into creatures that view people as pack leaders and home as territory worth defending. A good hunting dog is valuable, worth significant coin to those who can afford such luxuries. War dogs, trained to attack on command and to ignore their own injuries in battle, can turn the tide of small engagements. Shepherd dogs help manage flocks of sheep across the hills and valleys of Westeros, doing work that would require multiple humans without their assistance. Yet most dogs are simple companions, valued for their loyalty and affection, sleeping at their master's feet and asking nothing beyond food and kindness. Swine, both domestic pigs and wild boars, provide another essential food source throughout the Seven Kingdoms. Pigs can be raised on scraps and forage that other livestock would refuse, converting waste into valuable meat and fat. They require less land than cattle, mature more quickly, and produce large litters, making them ideal for feeding growing populations. Wild boars still roam the forests of Westeros, particularly in the Kingswood and the Wolfswood, massive, tusked beasts that can weigh as much as a small horse and prove dangerous when cornered. Boar hunting is considered a noble sport, the animal's aggression and strength making them worthy opponents for knights testing their courage. A charging boar can gut a horse with its tusks, or take down a man before his spear finds its mark. King Robert Baratheon met his end hunting a boar, the beast goring him mortally even as he killed it, demonstrating that even kings are not immune to the dangers these animals present. Domesticated pigs retain echoes of their wild cousin's intelligence and can become surprisingly cunning, escaping enclosures and leading their owners on chases through villages, but most live simple lives, fattening for the slaughter that will feed families through winter. Goats thrive in terrain too steep or rocky for other livestock, climbing mountain slopes where sheep would falter and cattle could not go. Both domestic goats and wild ibex populate the mountains of Westeros and beyond, the wild varieties having massive, curved horns and the ability to leap between rocks with precision that seems impossible for their size. Goats provide milk, meat, and hide, requiring less space and feed than larger animals, making them ideal for poor families or those living in marginal lands. Their milk can be made into cheese that keeps longer than cow's milk, and goat meat, while tougher and gamier than beef, sustains mountain clans and isolated communities. Wild goats are prey for shadowcats and other mountain predators, their wariness and climbing ability often insufficient to escape ambush from above. The goat appears in several house sigils, representing not nobility or fierceness, but rather the virtues of determination, sure-footedness, and the ability to thrive where others cannot. Appropriate symbols for houses that hold difficult terrain or that have endured through hardship. The world of ice and fire holds countless creatures beyond those detailed here. From the mundane mice that nest in granaries to the exotic beasts rumored to exist in lands so distant that no reliable report has ever confirmed their nature. There are said to be striped horses in Yitai, apes that walk upright in the jungles of Sothorios, serpents with scales of every color in the Summer Isles. Each region has its own fauna adapted to its climate and terrain, creatures that the small folk of Westeros will never see, but which are as real to their native lands as direwolves once were to the north. The diversity of life in this world, both confirmed and rumored, speaks to the richness of creation, to the endless variations that emerge when magic and nature intertwine across vast continents and millennia. Some creatures are ordinary animals like those of our own world, following natural laws of predator and prey, reproduction and death. Others are touched by magic, dragons breathing fire, wights rising from death, shadows that murder, wolves bonded to human minds. Still others exist in the space between certainty and legend. Creatures that might be real or might be stories, their existence neither proven nor disproven. As you drift toward sleep, perhaps you'll dream of these creatures, of dragons soaring on thermals above Valyrian ruins, of direwolves running through northern forests under auroras of green and blue, of white walkers moving through winter storms with their army of the dead following in silent ranks. The world of Westeros and the lands beyond contains wonders and horrors in equal measure. Beasts that inspire awe and those that provoke terror. Creatures that have shaped human civilization and those that resist all attempts at domestication or understanding. From the smallest bloodfly to the mightiest dragon, from the loyal direwolf to the terrifying basilisk. These creatures populate a world that feels alive with possibility and danger. They remind us that humans, for all their castles and armies and claims of dominion, share their world with beings that preceded them, that will likely outlast them, and that operate according to their own needs and natures, regardless of human plans and politics. In the end, we are all creatures together, sharing one world of ice and fire, of shadow and light, of ancient mysteries sleeping beneath a stone and new terrors emerging from darkness. Sweet dreams, and may your rest be peaceful, undisturbed by the creatures that hunt in darkness or fly on leather wings through storm-racked skies.